What's up, people? It is another week, another Quest podcast, and we are ready to get this adventure rolling. First, what I'm going to do is go ahead and introduce our panel members. First, I'm going to start off with Artemis. What's going on, man?
What is up, guys and gals? I am so happy to be here tonight. It is going to be an awesome show. Let's get into that.
Yep. Remix.
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am excited to get on into this week's show. So, let's do it.
Let's go. And I'm your host, mbangs99. Let's get right to it. What have you guys been playing this week? Artemis.
I played a little bit of Argo with Remix. That was fun.
What is that?
It's basically
Arma
the
3,
multiplayer Armor 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
standalone. It's
It's
free to play.
basically. Yeah, it's free to play. It was all right. Yeah, it wasn't something up Remix's alley because he kept on complaining about the mouse and keyboard.
Yo, I
functions
did
that
better than
he-
you, bro. So get out of here.
You did.
First time on mouse and
But you were
keyboard,
complaining.
and I clutched the first round, people. All right? Clutched a couple rounds, actually.
No, you did good. You did good. No, you did an excellent job. You clutched for the team and stuff, but it was funny hearing you about the controls. But also I've been playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Dude, let me tell you, this game is gonna be freaking awesome on the Xbox One when it comes out. Everybody, I guarantee this game is going to be huge when it comes out on the Xbox One. Some people I know in the community who will hate it. Mooch. No, they're because it is definitely a chaos type of game. It's definitely, but it's very tactical though too, and it's kind of slow. But it is
Cross fields.
definitely a chaos thing because you don't know where shots are coming from. You don't know, there's a lot of things you're not gonna see.
How close did you get to a chicken dinner?
I think the closest I got was 5.
Okay.
Number 5. So
That's
came
pretty
in
good.
5th. I got like how many kills? Like 2 or 3. So I mean, it's great, but it's not that great.
Well, you would think that's not great, but a lot of people I've watched streaming this game, the average is about what 3 or 4
1. Yeah.
kills, and they're just to win a match, and it's not like a kill fest like everybody thinks. You really have to be strategic. You're really not gonna
It's about
Yeah.
outliving everybody.
right.
Yeah,
You're really
definitely.
you're really not gonna wind up getting that many kills to win a game. So that's what's cool about it.
Well, the great thing about it is that once it does come to console, people are gonna gravitate towards it very quickly. I feel, because it is definitely gonna be a game you want to play with a controller. It's definitely like that. It's definitely I know it is mostly keyboard and mouse right now, and it's more interactive that way. But for a third person type of game like this, it's better. It's always better with a controller. If it was first person, like all around first person, then I think it would probably, it is definitely better with a keyboard and mouse, of course, because you have more accuracy and things like that. But yeah, definitely it's gonna feel right at home with the Xbox.
Now I heard a lot of people talking about like it's not that very well optimized. Did you feel any like?
Well, they just did a recent patch update, and they fixed a lot of things. They fixed a lot of things that were wrong with the game, and now it's a lot smoother. There's a lot of you're having a better chance of hit detecting on somebody. Because before you could hit them like in the face like 5 times and they wouldn't go down. Like it was ridiculous. Some of the people I would watch, I'd be like, my God, like you shot that dude in the face like 5 times. Like, what's going on there? So they definitely, I think they're getting it well optimized before they come out with it on the Xbox, because I think it's supposed to come out next year. I don't think it's coming out this year, but I think it's coming out early next year.
Well, they announced this year. So what makes you think it's going to be next year?
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, it's because they don't have the Xbox controls for it yet. They don't have, optimized for the controls.
Yeah, like at E3, you were playing with an Xbox controller, but you still needed a mouse and keyboard for certain things. To play Battlegrounds in the Xbox booth.
How long do you think that would actually take to do that, though?
It depends. I mean, depends on where they're gonna place the buttons for everything, because I mean, with the mouse and keyboard, you have so many more options, but with a controller, you're so limited. It might take them a little while to kind of figure out, where it's best optimized for each, command for the controller. But if they do come out with it this year and it comes out this fall, I mean, it's awesome. People are definitely think people are going to gravitate to it. It's definitely going to be a huge hit, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely
for console gamers.
That's
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun game. It's definitely a really fun game. So if you haven't played it yet and you have a PC, definitely go out and play it. If you're willing to spend the $29, definitely, pick it up. But yeah, that's all I played.
I wonder if they would keep that same price structure when they come to Xbox. I know it'll be in game preview first, right?
Oh well, that's a good point, because I think it would. I would think they would keep that price point. That $29.99 would be a good price point for it to be on the Xbox. If it's not and it's more, I could see a lot of people probably shying away from it, because it's like, okay, well, it's $29.99 on the PC and it's $39.99 on here. Like, okay, it's $10 more, but that's $10 in my pocket that I could have used on something else.
That's true. All right, Remix. What have you been playing?
As Anima said, I've been playing some. We tried out a few rounds of Argo. Yeah, not necessarily my cup of tea. I was saying, like, that was my first time ever playing on mouse and keyboard, and I was like, I could just wreck these people if I had a controller in my hands right now. But yeah, I clutched that first round, 1v2 clutch. I was pretty proud of myself. But I also picked up Red Dead Revolver on the PlayStation.
I saw that. I saw you play that.
Yeah, OG, man. Red Dead Revolver. That's the game that got me into gaming, really. So I was playing a little bit of that with my dad and sister and her boyfriend, just like couch co-op, killing each other. And then last night we started playing up the story again. So, unlock some more characters for us to play around with and stuff. So that's been fun. I picked up a couple other games as well that I haven't played yet on the PlayStation. They've got a really good sale going on. So I definitely check them out. Like Ratchet and Clank is like $7 or $8. Killzone is $5. So like those are both games I'm gonna pick up for sure. And same with Steam, dude, because I was playing Argo. I'm picking up my PC here soon. Steam summer sale. They always have great sales, so definitely go over there. I'm picking up some Star Wars games, like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. Star Wars Republic Commandos, and CSGO. I'll probably pick up Battlegrounds, play some of that with Optimus. So all these sales, summer sales.
You said you're picking up your PC soon. What does that mean?
It means I'm going to order one soon.
Oh, so you're not going to build it? You're just going to order it?
Nah, I mean, I found a price equivalent to what I would have built, because I had all the parts set up basically for back before the 1070, 1080 and stuff came out. Mm-hmm. And so it has everything I want for the same price point, but with the 1070 in it. So
is that where are you getting it from? CyberPower?
I'm actually getting it on off Microsoft's website. They have a little PC sale. a lot of the sales aren't as good as they were a few weeks ago, but the one that I wanted is still on sale for the same price. So
Okay, cool. Y'all gonna turn into PC dudes before I do. All right.
I don't know about that, dude. I have been going back to using the controller.
You PC sellouts on here. Anyway,
I'll grab that connector to the Xbox controller, play all the PC games on my controller.
I was wondering why I hadn't seen you guys online. I'm like, what's up with this? I see now we've been on PlayStation and PC. Okay.
Yeah, well, I've also been outside a lot and like hanging with family, going swimming. So I haven't played too many games this week.
Outside, what is that to a gamer? That's like death to a gamer.
I'm tan in this pasty gamer skin, you know.
Don't do that. It makes no sense.
Don't do that, man. Don't no.
All right.
In the long run.
As for myself, I've really just been playing Metro Last Light this week. I started early last week, I think, before the previous podcast. And this week, me and my wife got home from a long week off. So, I was spending a lot of time with kids and stuff. So I really played a bunch. So, and I just finished Metro Last Light about 30 minutes before the podcast. Great game, great set of games. Metro Redux 2033 and then Metro Last Light. They are a great set of games. Nice, cohesive storyline. Cool. And like I told these guys before we got on, I'm so looking forward now because toward the end of Metro, when I knew I was toward the end, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm about to beat this so I can play some Nier Automata. So that's what in fact, as soon as we get out the podcast, I'm gonna start playing that game. So
nice.
Looking forward to doing that.
You actually saw that on PlayStation. I'm tempted to buy it as well. So
yeah, man. And chicken spaghetti on Twitter, all he says was like Horizon Zero Dawn is okay, but Neo and Nier Automata should be game of the years over Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm like, really? Dang. So it must be. I mean, I know about Neo, but Nier must be really good then. So I'm excited to try it out. You know what I'm saying? So
nice. We'll
see how that goes. All right. So if there's no other games you guys forgot about that you've been playing, anything like that, we're gonna move on. First topic of the day is Xbox exec teases big titles that haven't been announced yet. This article was I guess mostly involving Aaron Greenberg. He was talking about how there are some titles that are far off that they don't necessarily want to talk about now because they're too far out in the future. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, they're always talking about they don't want to announce games too early, but they said that, there could be an announcement at Gamescom, but probably nothing big. And overall, to me, it sounds, like, of course, they've got some games in the works, but it sounds kind of just like PR talk a bit to me. Right. That is his job, head of like advertisement and marketing. So, that's what I get out of it. The heads of these companies are always talking about they got great games out in the future. Fucking Todd Howard, where's my new IP? But so.
Yeah, man, that's how I took it too, man. I mean, like they have a beast of a system out there that they have to sell, right, with a beast of a price. So of course they need to at least posture as if they have a lot of titles or some good, substantial AAA titles out in the future. Now, I'm not saying that they don't.
Yeah.
I was just disappointed that they didn't have anything for E3. And even with the announcement at Gamescom, the article was kind of hinting to the fact that maybe he said that they weren't going to be like big titles that were announced or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what they're missing at E3, I think. A big exclusive AAA game. So
a big exclusive to really make the system flash and get away from all this other crap that's been going on. All this noise that's been going on.
Yeah.
The only reason this noise has been going on is because they didn't have that AAA title to really point and say, okay, look, this is the one that shows the true power of the system.
Yeah.
So that was a hindrance. What do you think, Animus?
Well, at least they said something. At least they're letting us know that there is games that are coming down the pipeline.
You got to remember.
Yeah, they're way down the pipeline, probably. Yeah. But at least it's something, you know. At least it's not what we were hoping for E3, and it's probably not going to be something that we're going to get at Gamescom. But at least we're gonna, maybe see, maybe a little indie title or something like that. I know me personally, I don't care for indies, but it's good for the other people like you and Remix that you guys like playing those games and get a break from all the AAAs and stuff. You know, what he said, is basically just, there's games coming down the pipeline, and you guys are just gonna have to wait to see what we got, and I think next year we'll probably see something, exclusive wise, we'll see something. I think we will. I don't know if it'll be like a total exclusive. I think it'll be more like maybe a timed exclusive or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. It's probably going to be something that's going to go to PC as well. So, that's they've been doing.
Like,
well,
to me, PC, is a different beast, and it's being in it of itself, So.
Well, Artemis, I know you're purchasing the Xbox One X Day One, so am I. Does it bother you that they don't have any type of first party, big titles coming up like now?
No, because I have.
Bother you? What's like? Does it bother you that they're talking about it's going to be maybe, because we heard this, not too long ago, that they're going to be maybe 2 to 3 years out? I mean, that doesn't bother you at all?
None of this stuff ever bothers me. The only thing that bothers me the most is when, they announce something and then it never comes out at all.
Right.
Like that bothers me because Scalebound, I was looking forward to it, didn't come out. It's like, oh, okay, well, thanks. Basically, which, to be honest, I don't think it was really their fault on their end or anything. It was just the game wasn't working out for them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't really see it being 3 or 4 years out. I could see it maybe next year we'll see some stuff. We got to give them time. They just built this console. It's basically like a new console. I mean, it's launching with Forza basically. What did Xbox do when it launched back in 2013? It launched with Forza Motorsport. like we can kind of see a pattern there. Like it's kind of at that point where we got to give them a little time. They'll get their bearings, and we'll see some good games coming out of Xbox and Microsoft and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, like my thing, I'm probably not picking up the Xbox One Day One, the One X Day One, but for me it doesn't necessarily bother me because that these doesn't bother me in the sense for the console itself, because everything's going to be cross platform in terms of the Xboxes, but it bothers me more for the like Microsoft. I just want to have some big AAA, even if it's off a bit in the future. I think they should at least have something by next fall, and if they don't, I think that's a big mess up. But
yeah, but if you're talking 2 to 3 years out, you're not talking about anything next fall, right?
Huh? Say that again.
If you're talking about games 2 to 3 years out, you're not really talking about next fall. So what do you guys think they would have for next fall?
Well, where's the 2 to 3 years out coming from?
Well, this was an article. You remember? I think we talked about this last podcast where they were trying to get a Horizon Zero Dawn light game, but in that article it talked about that it may be 2 to 3 years out. Yeah, but
that's one game that might be 2 to 3 years out.
This was still talking about not just one game. I'm hoping it was several games, even though they will be that far out. But I'm hoping he wasn't just talking about one game. Yeah.
But it could be that one game that's 2 or 3 years out, but they have other games coming in the pipeline in the fall, next fall, that is, and stuff that will show the power of the 1X and everything. So
yeah, I mean, there's games this year that are going to show the power of the 1X.
yeah,
There's not just I keep on hearing people complaining about 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're not going to notice it that much when it comes to a game like Assassin's Creed or
Right.
Forza. You will, yes, definitely, because it's high octane, it's very fast, it's very in your face type of game. With a car game, yes, you definitely need that 60 frames per second. Call of Duty, you definitely need that 60 frames per second. Something like, I know Destiny, honestly, let's be honest here, they're using their same engine that they used with the first Destiny. So can we really see them going up to 60 frames per second? No, because they're using the same freaking engine that they did with the first one. So it's not gonna make a difference.
yeah,
But
and
with the go ahead, Remix. Sorry.
and with like Don's our good friend. We talk to him a lot. He's a game dev, and he was talking to a dev that's more experienced, and he said this a few times on, I believe, next podcast and the podcasts that he's on. But they don't build the game and then scale it to the frames per second that people want. They build a game around a particular frame rate that they aim for. So they're targeting 30, and that's like step one, or they're targeting 60, and that's step one. And there are cinematic reasons to have 30 frames per second. Now, in a first-person shooter, like fast-paced multiplayer, yeah, you want 60 frames. It's going to run smoother, and it's more Twitch-based. But for me, not all games need to be 60 frames per second, and I'm kind of tired of all that talk. Like people getting into that. I don't really care. Just give me a good game. And
yeah, because you got to think about it. Like back in the day, like I'm an older gamer. Yeah, I didn't know anything about that until I started, really listening to different podcasts. I didn't know anything about 60/30. Like I couldn't tell the difference. Like if you would have asked me, I would have been like, what the hell are you talking about? I was just playing the game, So I think that's what we need to get back to. And another reason it bothers me is that if we focus on one thing, then as being voices in the community, then that's going to get to the devs, and the devs are going to focus on that. When maybe they should be focusing on like better AI,
better gameplay.
Different experiences within the game versus worrying about 30 frames or 60 frames or 4K or any of that. We need different gameplay.
Exactly. Back in the day, we were all into gameplay and story, and now it's about the graphics. It's about what's prettier to people. What's more appealing to the eye. And granted, we all kind of felt that. If we go back to like some of these older games, I kind of get that sense of like, well, I kind of want to play something that came out like last week or something like that.
Right.
But these games are going to look great on the X. I don't understand. I don't understand it.
yeah. That goes back to my original question. I was saying, like, does it make you worry? Well, to me, it kind of makes me worry because I know Microsoft doesn't have that many first-party studios. So with these AAA games, they're probably reaching out to a third or second-party studio, and I kind of get scared at that point. Like maybe something again may happen where there's some creative differences, as Aaron talked about in the article, as far as what happened to Scalebound, and then something gets canceled again. So that's the only thing that makes me worried. But Xbox is my primary console. I play most of my third-party games, or probably all of my third-party games, for the most part, on the X. So for me, on the Xbox. I want you to get confused.
Soon to be the X.
Yeah, soon to be the X. But I play most of my third-party games there anyway. So, for me, it's just like, okay, now my third-party games that I play on my Xbox are going to be super enhanced. So I'm cool, But just looking out into the future, it does make me worry because I know that they don't have a lot of first-party studios. So, they are reaching out to get these games done. And I'm just thinking, so will we have those same hiccups again? So, well, I'm hoping maybe they got that process more streamlined. Maybe they'll keep up with what's going on more. I don't know what happened with the scale bound issue, but maybe we'll see.
Well, that's
and
the thing,
one more little side note, kind of off topic thing is like, because we're just talking about the frames and stuff. Like, let's what happened to all the fun in games? Like, let's just have fun with our games. I picked up Red Dead Revolver. That game came out in 2001, 2002, around that time. And yeah, the game looks like dog shit. Of course, it's an old ass game. But I'm there. I'm playing it with my old man, and we're just having a good time and laughing and blowing each other up. And so, that's the best part about gaming. So, let's not get all into this bullshit and make gaming a task. Let's just have fun.
Yeah, let's because I mean, look at Battlegrounds. It's a great looking game, but most people play it at very low settings because it's just better frame rate. Just better, just better to move around and stuff. They don't care. They play the game because it's fun and it's a lot of there's a lot of things going on in it. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll move on. Next topic is the Xbox games with gold. I assume y'all saw this.
You need to be seeing the games. The games are
so what do you guys
I want Remix to say the names because half of them I was all like, why?
Why? It's so funny to me, man, because one month you'll be like, yes, and the next month you'll be like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
It's the summertime. Why wouldn't they give us really good AAA games? Like, honestly, why wouldn't they do that? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, yeah, granted, they're having their summer sale. They're having their little summer sale this week. Tomorrow, actually. But, come on.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but anyways, the games with gold for the month of July are Grow Up, Runbow, Kane and Lynch 2, and Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. So, I mean, I've heard some okay things about Grow Up. It does not look like my style game at all. And honestly, Kane and Lynch 2, I've never heard of it, never played it, but it didn't look half bad. But honestly, the games for this month are kind of trash. But, it's free games. Although, it's nice when you do get, a nice little AAA, especially looking at PlayStation's games for this month when we'll get into that. They got a nice game this month coming up, but,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Artemis?
Well, you already know what I think. Trash, all of them. Why? Why are you doing this to me? I want free games, but I want AAAs, but I want them free. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. Dang it.
Yeah, I know Grow Up used to be like a PlayStation. It was only on PlayStation, right? I think so. I'm not sure, but who cares? I mean, yeah, this is a bad month. We've had plenty of good months, so
yeah,
can't really
that's true.
We can't. This month.
Yeah, we can't really blame them. I mean, because let's be honest, they've been giving us pretty good months for the past couple months now.
Right.
So them giving us something like this, it's okay. Because guess what? Next month, the following month, in August, we'll probably get something really good, or it'll be like this month again.
Yeah. or it'll just be a bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, free games are free games, but it is part of the program, and you do want to be impressed by what they bring,
But I mean, let's be honest. We've all gotten our money's worth out of what we.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They do a fantastic job every month, pretty much, just giving us games for free. I mean, how many games have I downloaded that were free? I mean, what last month they gave us Watch Dogs? I mean, yeah, it's not the greatest game, but it's at least halfway decent to warrant the $60 to pay every month or every year for Xbox Live.
Right.
Definitely.
All right. Well, Xbox games with gold this month is trash, but they've done us good, some previous months. So we'll give them a pass for this one. Let's move on. Xbox Game Pass has added 7 new games. First game is Dead Island Definitive Edition. Next one is Resident Evil 6. You have F1 2015, The Flame and the Flood. You have Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, Bard's Gold, and Monaco. What's yours is mine. So, what do you guys think about Game Pass so far? It's the first month where they're doing their ad, and I don't know if they took away anything. They of course they didn't say anything about that, but they added these 7. I'm definitely
I'm gonna use
interested in Dead Island though. Just to say that real quick.
Dead Island is good, bro. It is good.
I'm gonna use something out of Bane's playbook. Trash. Let's move on.
Yo, did you do that last week too, or was Bans the one that said it?
Yeah, no, I did it last week too. I'm just gonna from now on. I'm just gonna do it. Like you guys
just use his playbook.
Honest, though, I think I hit that at least once a week though. At least once.
You have every week. You're just like trash. Let's move on. It's just like all right.
But really, I wasn't gonna subscribe, but then I was like, well, if they get at least 2, maybe 3 games that I'm really interested in, then I'll do it. And they already had Layers of Fear, which I was interested in, just dabbing in that to see what it was about. And then the Swapper, that indie, I was interested in that one. And so now they've added Dead Island and Resident Evil 6. I'm interested in those 2. So I'll probably subscribe for a couple of months.
And I think those 2 are, like the shining games. I know I don't like a lot of people have issues with Resident Evil 6, but it is Resident Evil. I've never played it myself. I haven't heard of some of these games before. I think Monaco was games with gold 1 month. Guacamelee, I've seen.
I think that was games with gold once too.
I've seen. It was okay. Well, I've seen that around before, but I don't know what the Flame and the Flood is. It sounds kind of interesting. I might have to look it up, see what it is. Do you guys know what that is?
No, I don't. But the main thing about this is that it seems like the more the focus is on, they're putting a few more Xbox One games in there, and as long as they keep with that focus, this pass is going to really be something really big for them.
Oh yeah, I think the biggest point is, they're adding games to the pass, just like they've been adding games to backwards compatibility, and how fast that grew, and hopefully, this grows into a big thing as well, where you get a lot for your money and a lot of good quality games for your money.
And every month you're looking forward to it, kind of like games with gold. Okay, so what game is going to be added this month? So
yeah.
For me, just personally, Dead Island Definitive Edition is a big ad for me because I wanted to play that and I was going to buy it, but I was like, I'll wait.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now that they've put it in the past, I'll probably just subscribe to the past, and
it's the Xbox One version, right, of the game? It's not
the
360.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
picked that up back a few years ago when it was on a sale one time. And I had fun, I played it cooperatively. God, words are hard. With some friends, and I had a good time in it. So yeah, definitely a fun game, I think.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
I was bummed because they were like a couple years ago. They announced a new one, and it never came to fruition. First, like the company went like bankruptcy that was supposed to make the game, and then it went on to another company, and then I don't think we've heard about it since or something like that. I didn't follow the whole thing, but I was really wanting another one. That would have been fun. But
right, have any of you beaten Dying Light or played a substantial amount of it?
Yeah, I played it. Yeah, it's a great game.
How is it in comparison with
Dying Light's more like the parkour
Dead
one.
Island?
Yeah, Dead Island.
Dead Island?
Yeah.
Better than Dead Island? Let me just say that. I didn't really like Dead Island. Dead Island's more like melee, and then like it's more of a melee combat in Dead Island. Dying Light, you at least have guns. You at least have a bunch of. I mean, you do have guns in Dead Island too, but in Dead Island
it's a bit different, isn't it? Like, does Dying Light have a
more of a fluidity
legendary, epic, like rating system to its weapons, because Dead Island 2 does. It's a various rarities of loot and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the Dying Light is just more fluid than their first game. They kind of learned a lot of things from what they did with Dead Island, Dead Island, and kind of put it in Dying Light and made it better with the parkour. It made it more fast paced and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I think they're a little they're both obviously have zombie creatures in them, but I from what I've seen, I think I watched a Let's Play of Dying Light, and what I've played of Dead Island, they're kind of different games, in their gameplay and mechanics and stuff, So,
ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to playing it.
I think you would like Dying Light more than you.
I've already beaten that. So
okay, so you beaten that? Yeah, you. I don't know if you're gonna. You might go back to Dead Island and be like, "This is slow," because it is slow. It is really slow compared to Dying Light.
Yeah, I also played one time through with I hopped online and these guys gave me a bunch of modded weapons and stuff on Dead Island, so that was a lot of fun.
But, modded weapons. You bought that on PC or something?
No, you can download guns into the game by going to certain websites, guns that just do massive amount of damage. Same with Borderlands, Borderlands 1 and 2, especially in Borderlands 1, you could have shields that couldn't break even on the Xbox and stuff. So, but I normally just got them through other people, playing online with random people, cooperatively. So.
Cool. So even though it may be a little bit slower, I'll still give it a try. We'll see. All right, let's move on. Xbox Ultimate Game Sale is coming up. Anything you guys looking forward to buying, or anything you guys want to be on sale that you've been eyeing for a minute? But
I don't know if there's necessarily anything I want to be on sale that I can think of
off the top of
my head. I mean, of course, the more games on sale, the better.
I have Bulletstorm.
Bulletstorm?
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what's going to be on sale. Do they have a list yet? I haven't hopped on the Xbox in a day or two, so I haven't checked that out.
Well, there's some people that's come out with lists that they figure games that would be on Ghost Recon. A lot of the AAA games we probably already have, but
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I have a lot of the games.
I'm
actually really interested in the Steam and PlayStation sales right now, just because picking up some games for my PC, and I haven't put really any time into my PlayStation yet, and I'm I bought this thing, I need to go over there and pick up some games, because there are some games on the PlayStation that I want to play. I just haven't gotten around to yet, and I have a fucking backlog of games, man. I always say I'll play them, and then I get overwhelmed, and I'm just I'll play something else that I've already played, and never get into it. So
we did have a question in the chat from Iceman. What do you guys think is the best zombie game of all time? Yes, I'm guessing that's what he meant.
I don't know, man.
I said Resident Evil, so I think hands down that those games are, from the beginning.
I've played too many zombie games, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil.
I will say Black Ops 1 Zombies mode though, pretty awesome. But I'm not gonna say that for my answer. Although the zombies suck.
Oh my gosh, remix.
I used to, spend so much time playing Black Ops 1 Zombies with friends and stuff.
You gotta think about remixes age group too.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
When I was what, fucking 12, dude, playing that Black Ops 1 Zombies, that was the shit. It was fun, running the rape trains and all the good stuff.
He says 12, but I'm all dude, I was in my 20s by that.
Well, I mean, for me, the Resident Evil games, of course, made an impression on me because I played them, early on, in the first one. But the best so far that I've played would probably have to be Dying Light.
Yeah, I was gonna say like story-wise, Dying Light.
Yeah, Dying Light
great.
really had everything that you would want in one of those games. Now, of course, that was one of the new age games, and so it had the advantage of looking back on all those other games and improving and doing stuff way different. But Dying Light would probably be the best zombie game I've played so far. Like I said, Resident Evil, of course, you gotta give props to that because from the first one when I played that, I remember that. But to say the best, it would have to be Dying Light at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we good.
Iceman, got anything else for us? Put it in the chat, homie.
Yeah, let us know.
Next up, we got. Well, wait, I didn't say what I was. I said Bulletstorm that I was interested in for the, and I was going to get on you guys. I was going to put y'all on blast because I've been trying to get y'all to get this Ghost Recon. But y'all waiting for a $30 price point. So what? If $30, if they have $30,
I told you I'm not picking up that trash, dude. I played that shit when I had it for free.
Yeah, see, hold up.
I wasn't enticed to play it.
Everybody to go back to the podcast whenever we were talking about Ghost Recon in the first place. You had a whole different tune.
I was excited for the game, bro, and then the game came out and it let me down. I mean, not every game's a fucking hit, man. Some games disappoint.
It was the same game you played in the beta, basically. Same game.
Well, yeah, but like I played the beta and it was good. It was fun, but and then you kind of like get in the game and you're like, it's just more the same. The beta for me, I think the beta wore me out on the game, and yeah, the beta was good, but like I feel like it needs more story. I feel like it was a very difficult game.
So I guess that means we're waiting on a $15 price point. Damn, man, y'all golly.
You're more like waiting for games with gold, bro.
Yeah, give it a few years. Games with gold. I like that. I like that.
For me, I'm not really excited for anything because I pretty much picked up almost everything already that I want to play. I might pick up a few indies here and there just to try them out, just to give them a shot because Remix always says, "Give it a shot, bro."
Yeah, because it's how
hey, I'm telling y'all, my game of the year is Rhyme. Y'all need to look out for that. If it goes on sale.
If it goes on sale, dude, I'll pick it up definitely.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just pick it up. That. I don't know if that's my cup of tea, but if Audimus picks it up, I'll play it.
Yeah.
Well, of course you're gonna play it.
I'm looking forward to. I want them to, if they can deeply discount Bulletstorm, I'll pick that up because that just seems fun. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people stream that. It just looked like fun to me. Rise and Shine is another one. It's an indie.
Yeah, I have that one. I actually have to play it. But,
yeah, I'm trying to see if that's getting discounted again. I've missed it every other time, or I said I was going to get it and then never went back and got it. Old Blood. I remember telling y'all, I think a couple weeks ago that I wasn't going to play it, but I just want some more Wolfenstein, man.
Right?
Yeah.
I know, man.
I know. So great, man. And I think I've seen somewhere where they leaked some of the prices, and I think it's going to be $10, so I'm definitely picking that up.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. If I can get a discount on those 3 games, I'll be cool. I don't know of anything else. Maybe Injustice, depending upon what the price point is. Y'all know.
Yeah, I haven't played Injustice in a bit, but if you pick that up,
yeah,
kick your ass,
Yeah, you will. I'll be playing it for that story though. I'm a big story guy, so.
Well, I'm a noob too, so.
Yeah, but that's it. I'll just look through it and see if anything else jumps out at me, but. We'll see, but 300 games, that's pretty big. Xbox doing it big. PlayStation sale, I looked at that, but I really just didn't see much. I was looking for like Kingdom Hearts to be discounted. It wasn't discounted. Yakuza 0, it wasn't discounted. Like none of their exclusives were, the newer exclusives. None of those really discounted. So I was just like, this sale is shit to me.
Yeah, I haven't really gone through the big sale yet, but have you checked the sale like from yesterday on? Because they had two different sales. They had one sale last week, and it seemed to me like they had like a lot of Rockstar games. Like that's when I picked up Red Dead Revolver, and like they had a bunch of GTAs and stuff for sale. But then I believe on the 28th yesterday they just started a new sale.
So they switched it up.
So I don't know. I haven't gone through the complete list. I just saw like Ratchet and Clank and Killzone that caught my eye that I'll probably pick up, and maybe some other games. Like I think Nier Automata is $20 off.
Okay. So because the first time I looked, Nier Automata wasn't in the list, even though I already had that. So I just figured if Nier was in the list, then Kingdom Hearts would be in the list. The Yakuza would be in the list.
So you might want to go back and check out the sale.
Yeah, I'll go back and look through it again.
And we'll come back next week and let you guys know.
Yep. All right, next topic. 343 gives blessing to the fan-made Halo game. I thought this was cool because you hear all kind of fan-made games that come out, but they come out or they don't come out. They get created and they're about to come out, but they get stomped by whoever else is actually has the game. You know what I'm saying? Actually has rights to the game. And I thought it was cool that 343. It was like, hey, as long as you're not trying to make a bunch of money off of this or anything like that, then hey, cool, you can do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was cool with 343.
Like marketing confines and stuff, but
right.
Yeah, I think it's cool. So right now they're calling it installation 01.
Yeah.
And right now it's only for PC, Mac, and Linux, which I'm cool with. I would hope it comes to console as well, but maybe Microsoft could step in and bring it to console. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to expect from it. So far, it just looks classic red versus blue multiplayer, but maybe some more old school style, like slow down a bit, Halo 2 and like Halo 3, and maybe some Reach is what they're saying. It has components of those games, so maybe it'll be because good for that hardcore fan base that doesn't really like the sped up Halo 5 gameplay. So It'll be interesting to see, and I think it's definitely cool of Microsoft and 343 to entice it and let them go on ahead.
Yeah, I think it speaks more to the way that Microsoft is, period. You know what I'm saying? They're more for the gamer, I think, this time around with their services. They're just trying to be more open to a lot of things. And I know this is not Microsoft specifically, but 343 is an extension, for better or worse, of Microsoft. And I think that it just shows the mentality that they have throughout. They're not trying to kill the little guy. In fact, they're trying to embrace the little guy.
Yeah.
Maybe they may find something in this to make something bigger or better, off of the Halo scene, but own something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and who knows if they'll find, a talent in the development team, bring them on to 343 itself. Who knows?
And I can see them being more open and forward thinking like that, and so that's why I thought it was cool. Go ahead, Autumn.
Well, this is kind of like, when you're too old to be like in a fight with somebody, it's kind of like, you be the bigger man and kind of step away and kind of say, okay, we're done. It's kind of like that in terms of like, they're coming in here and they're saying, hey, listen, you made this fan-made game. We want you to continue, but we have some circumstances that we want you to kind of, follow and things like that. And, this is a good thing for, some of these other people out there that are willing to or wanting to make these fan-made games, but aren't really getting this respect or the recognition for it. And really should, because, it's not a bad thing, that they're doing these games. It's a good thing because they're showing like, hey, we love this game so much that we're willing to, make something out of it, or do something with it to make it last even longer than, what it's lasting when it's on a console or whatever. So that, I mean, it's a good thing. 343. I think it handled it very well. They were sitting there saying, they could have said no. They could have been like, no, we don't want you guys making this game. Pull it. They didn't, and that's good that they didn't do that, because then it shows, like you guys were saying, it shows that they were being the bigger man, and they said, hey, listen, these guys have a good game coming probably, and we want them to continue to do it, because I think this is going to really bring some light to some of these other fan-made games that aren't really getting that kind of, recognition or getting canceled and things like that.
And like we said, it can be sort of a mining process, right? Mining talent, So maybe if this works out and is really good, Microsoft can pull some of these guys and say, hey, you want to work on something else, or any other ideas you guys have, So
right.
I just think exactly them being open to something like this is really good.
Yeah. Especially, if they're if they're doing this, what if they do another game? Maybe they start working for 343 and they do their B team or something like that, and they're doing like some other game that's not Halo. It could happen. Things aren't impossible to happen in the gaming industry. There are a lot of things that are possible. So,
and so many other companies, would crush this immediately. Like I'm sure, like Rockstar or Bethesda would crush this. Like Bethesda, they'll let you make mods and stuff for their game, add content to their game. But if you try to make a standalone fan version of one of Bethesda's games, it would be crushed immediately. So again, it's just nice to see, this and see what comes of it too. So.
Well, big ups to Microsoft and 343 for that, because you always got to shout out Microsoft too, because of course 343 is under them. But let's move on. PlayStation Plus games for July. You guys taking a look at that?
Way better than Microsoft and Xbox.
Yeah, they got Until Dawn and Game of Thrones Telltale game. And then I saw something like Tokyo Jungle. They might have like one or two like Vita games, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
When I looked up like the actual like PlayStation thing of the ones they showed off, they just showed Until Dawn and Game of Thrones Telltale.
Yeah, well, for PlayStation 4, they only have Until Dawn and Game of Thrones, which is where, even though Microsoft is their games of gold this month is shitty, they still give you 4 games that you have access to on your platform, right? You can only access Until Dawn and Game of Thrones on PlayStation 4. Tokyo Jungle and Darkstalkers Resurrection are only accessible on PlayStation 3. And then Element 4 and Don't Die and Mr. Robot. That's actually cross-platform. So I guess you have 3 games that you can access on your PlayStation 4 versus Microsoft's 4 games. So, Microsoft is consistently giving you 4 games per month, where, with PlayStation, it kind of goes.
Yeah. But I mean, at least for this month, you can't say it for all months, but this month, PlayStation's, games are quality. I haven't heard the best of things of Game of Thrones, but Telltale, makes a good game for a person that's into those. And Until Dawn, I've heard great things about that. I'm definitely going to pick that up and play it, because I never have. But
the funny thing is about these games, they're kind of similar, because they're kind of like point and click games, press a button games, basically. Game of Thrones is, more the Telltale, side series, and Until Dawn's more on Quantic Dream. You guys know who Quantic Dream is, with who did Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. Those games, they're kind of more along those lines. But the funny thing is, with Until Dawn, they did Quantic Dream, but they outdid Quantic Dream with that game, because they did a Quantic Dream game, but better, basically. The game is really good. I'm glad to get it digital. I had it. I have it physical, actually. I have it physical, so it's good to get it digital. I also have Game of Thrones digital, so it's good. Physical. Good to get it digital as well. So both really good, 2 really good games. I think it's definitely a good month on Sony's end, but how many times have I downloaded any games from their PlayStation Plus, what they've had? Not very many. It hasn't been very much, unlike with Games of Gold. So I mean, yes, for them to have a good month this month is it's cool.
Last month,
but
I mean,
we'll see next
the
month.
month of June was good as well, though.
Yeah, it was.
Babes, mute your mic. But games with gold. I mean, PlayStation Plus games for the month of June were good as well. Life is Strange, which is kind of another point and click.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Have that one as well. And Killing Floor 2, I haven't played it yet. But we're gonna do that, guys. We gotta do that this week. But so I mean, I think they've got 4 good games, even if some of them are similar games and some of them are cheaper games. Pretty good games, games that people are going to be interested in if they've missed out on them. So
yeah, I definitely recommend, if you don't like Telltale games, I definitely recommend Until Dawn, though, because Until Dawn is awesome. You can get through it within a couple hours. Like, it's not that long of a game. Like, if you want to just run through it and just play the story and everything, and you don't care about the trophies and all that, just play the game, and you'll have a good time. Trust me, you'll have a really good time with that game.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Until Dawn.
Same.
Yeah, people are saying that's a really good game. So, but yeah, the last couple of months actually, PlayStation has been pretty good. So we'll see if they keep it up. But Until Dawn, I've actually had that for a while. It's in my backlog. I just hadn't played it. I think I got it on sale at some point in time. But either way, if you don't have it, that's a good pickup. Let's keep this moving. God of War is not going to be an open world game.
Who thought that? Who thought that this game was going to be an open world game? Like, the game looks like Uncharted. Like, they went more to a fixed camera angle, where, they're going kind of more similar to some of their other games out there. We've all seen that. But, why would they? Why would they make this an open world?
The other games aren't open world anyways, right?
Yeah, they're not open world anyways. So, I don't know who would have thought that. I mean, I guess I can kind of see, maybe because it has the same camera angle as Horizon Zero Dawn. Some of these other games that are out there, like Days Gone that's coming out,
Like we saw last year, a 15-minute thing, and you're just going through a straight a linear path and killing monsters and all that good stuff. So
the article did speak to like secret areas, maybe secret levels that if you
I mean, every single God of War game has a secret little
exactly
part about it. It has like a secret tunnel here or a secret dungeon here or whatever. It's not that big of a deal to the point where you can say it's an open world, because it's not gonna.
It's still confined.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely going to still be a linear story. I don't know why they would have thought that there was going to be like side missions and stuff.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't even know that I would want that from God of War. You know what I'm saying? I usually don't mind open world games, but I don't know that I would want that from God of War, because I've played all the other ones, and they're pretty good being linear. They're pretty decent.
Well, I love open world games, and they're the big hit, but not everything needs to go open world.
Exactly. A lot of times that linear story, it can still be full, but be linear and keep you on that path, and still be a great game. So, don't think God of War needs to be open world at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not every game needs to be open world. Like there's just some games that are just better off staying linear, and being like a 10-hour or 13-hour game. Just
Ubisoft.
Open world. Ubisoft is definitely an open world. They make everything that way, but you know, they're kind of the exception to the rule because they have, you know, they've basically had every single game that they've had has been open world anyway. So,
that's
you
not
know,
competitive.
yeah, I mean,
All right. Well, we're gonna move it along. Assassin's Creed changes. You guys get a chance to look at that article. Now,
They're basically talking about how there won't be like tower viewpoints where you synchronize and open portions of the map. Instead, you open portions like the clouded portions of the map by going out and exploring, and you can see those areas with I guess they're calling the bird you have an eagle. Could be a golden eagle, but it's definitely not a bald eagle. But and it's supposed to tell somewhat of a story of, you know, how the eagles are always flying off of the various towers.
I don't think it's an eagle at all. I think it's a hawk, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a hawk, but people always say eagle. But it's supposed to somewhat say like the story of how eagles became like the guardian of these towers or whatever, because, you know, you always see them flying off at a new sync point in the other games, because, you know, it's an origin story. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I said it when we were talking about it during the during our E3 impressions podcast. Go check that one out. Yeah. They you know, they already said that there weren't going to be any towers. You know, there's not gonna. Well, actually, I predicted there wasn't going to be any towers because I didn't see anything in the in the little gameplay or even in the trailer that even indicated that there was going to be like these towers that you're gonna have to climb up and give viewpoints and stuff like that. I'm glad that they're getting rid of that because that was just like the most boring part of the whole game, like having to go up these towers and then.
I didn't think it was that boring, but it was a bit of a hassle at times, for sure.
It's a hassle.
Sometimes
it was like.
But see, sometimes I would be like, I would look forward to going all the way up and then jumping off into that hay, like
but you do it so many times. I mean, how many games have there been?
Sure.
And you know,
play every game. I played every game, so yes, I am sick of it.
And they use the same mechanic in like Far Cry as well. You know, you go like the cell tower, and hit the box, and then zip line down.
Well,
but their big emphasis, real quick, Baines, their big emphasis for doing this, at least what they say, is, you know, encouraging more exploration and you know, I think not doing the tedious task of climbing the tower. So I think overall, for what like their goal and mindset is, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, because I have to admit, like when I would climb up and then open it, I wouldn't be as enticed to explore that the region, all of the region that I opened. You know what I'm saying? Versus not having that to open everything and then just having to go explore it in order to open it. I think that does encourage more exploration. But I think a lot of things,
how it created map clutter as well.
But yeah, it did. A lot of things I think changing because I saw another article that the combat was if you watch the gameplay,
I played it.
Well, remix, we can't be as fortunate. All right, so for me, watching the gameplay, all right, for me, it just seemed like the combat would cause you to be a little bit more strategic than you would before in Assassin's Creed. Did you get that feel from it?
Yeah, I mean, like it's more of like, you know, sword and shield lock-on mode, and there's more like dodging involved, than before. Now, mind you, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in a while, but yeah, I mean, like you see people making like Dark Souls comparisons. It's, I mean, nowhere near difficulty of Dark Souls. I don't really see that comparison, but you know, you're sliding and dodging and like blocking and chopping. So,
okay, yeah, I think this Assassin's Creed is really going to surprise me, man. I mean, I watched that 30 minutes of gameplay and I was like, oh my gosh! And then they were playing it on the X, the draw distance, the textures. It was like, oh my gosh, it just looks so great. I was ready to play that. So I think this Assassin's Creed is really going to surprise, man. It's taking it back to the beginning. You know, I guess it's supposed to be kind of like an origin story. So I'm really, really looking forward to this Assassin's Creed. But if there's nothing else, next on the docket we have Tekken. How do you think this game stacks up against the other fighters, your Mortal Kombat,
Trash.
your
Move on.
Justice 2.
It doesn't. That's the thing.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
Now, have you guys? You guys are the fighters. Have you guys played it?
Yes, I have it. I own it. So does Remix because he.
I played a little bit of it, but not much, because I'm just not into the combat style and the graphic. Well, I mean, the combat for me mainly is not fun, and then I'm not really big into graphics anyways. I don't care as much about that, but it also is a drawback after coming from Injustice 2 and that fighter impressing me so much,
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's still a good game. It just doesn't hold up to what we've had this generation with fighters. It doesn't even really hold up to even Street Fighter. I mean, well, nothing holds up to Street Fighter, but the thing is that Tekken came from an arcade. This is a port from an arcade, so it's not going to look great. The controls aren't going to be as smooth as let's say them optimizing it and building it for consoles.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about that is the old Tekken may have came from the arcade, but this is a new Tekken. Like, this is something that I thought was created, from the ground up for the console. So
no, it's created for arcade. Tekken 7 was.
Yeah, it was created for.
Okay. So
yeah, it was created for arcade, but it was also it's a good game. It really is. It's not a terrible game. It just doesn't hold up to some of these other ones.
And that's why it doesn't hold up then, because a lot of these other games are created ground up for the console.
Well, a lot of people give it that excuse though, and though that is true. It's a fact. But at the same time, they had 2 years to make improvements on the smooth mechanics and graphical improvements and all that as well. So, and mind you, like, this, was delayed a year as well, and you would hope that them delaying it would show through in the gameplay and the graphics. But
they delayed it for just to add a story. That's all they delayed it for. That's it.
Well, yeah, but they still, I mean,
they didn't do anything.
Plenty of people that could have been working on other improvements for the game.
Right, they could have, but they didn't. So,
and that's what I'm saying. And so for me, that's a ding. That's a X on the fucking board. If you're grading this piece by piece. So
well, that's the thing. You can't
shout
really.
Shout out to Iceman in the chat. He says his personal thing about it is that he thinks, only like Tekken fans will like it. So is it? You guys think it's more like a niche title that is gauged to a certain?
Oh yeah,
audience?
I mean, I mean, touted. I haven't really seen K Mega playing it, but yes, for fans of the game and K Mega, yes, it's a good game.
Because he streams with Next Gen 720.
Because he loves Tekken.
Right.
You can't say anything bad about it.
I think
even though I say
it's probably easier game to get into.
Well, yeah, Injustice 2 is definitely more user friendly, more something that people can actually jump in and actually do have a decent time of beating other people at. Yes, Tekken has these moves that each character at least has 100 and something moves that they can do, and it's been a while. I don't think anybody's found all 100 or 100 or something of the moves that at least one character can do. So, this game is definitely, it's good. It's very in depth, but it's not. It doesn't hold up. That's all it doesn't do.
I don't think it will be Fighter of the Year. Definitely not.
I just seeing it, like when Injustice came out, I'm just gauging this on Twitch. There's a lot of people streaming Injustice, but when Tekken came out, there was like maybe 1 or 2 people streaming that. I mean, as far as I'm gauging this based off of the people I follow and watch, right? Most of them were streaming Injustice, but when Tekken came out, it wasn't the same thing. Now, you said that in Tekken, each player has like 100 move sets, or what?
Yeah, something like that. They have different sets that they can do.
So would you think it's more of a strategic game, kind of like a lot of people say Street Fighter is more strategic, like you need to know what you're doing. And I know you guys said that Injustice.
Yeah, I mean Tekken has always kind of been that more strategic type of game. You know, you kind of have to, you know, learn the moves more with that game because, you know, there's just so many, and plus, you know, if you really want to get really good, you know, it's a lot harder of a game. Definitely, I'll have to say, it's definitely a lot harder of a fighter than, say, you know, Injustice or Mortal Kombat, because those games are kind of more streamlined and they're more mainstream than, you know, Tekken or kind of Street Fighter-esque. Yeah. I guess Street Fighter's actually become more and more mainstream as it's gone on. But Tekken has always kind of been the, you know, what K Mega would say, the king of fighters, even though I don't think that that's very accurate, because it, you know, for me, Street Fighter would probably be the one that would be the king.
Right.
Except for 5, of course, because 5 was just trash.
Yeah.
But
I'm an outsider looking in because I don't really play fighters. So.
Right. And it makes sense, you know, that you don't like Tekken. You know, it makes perfect sense because, you know, this game is not your typical fighter that you're used to. You know.
Okay. Well, I guess that's why Tekken doesn't really stack up. So we're gonna move off of Tekken. We all know the SNES, the SNES Mini is coming out. Do you guys think that would lead to? Do you think that they're following along the lines of their actual releases? So you think this will lead to the N64 Mini, and then so forth and so on?
Well, that's what this guy in the article, you know, is.
Well, I mean,
and I think it makes sense. You know, it makes perfect sense. You know,
right.
They're making money off these. You know, they're probably they seem like they're pretty cheap to make, and you know, they're selling. I think like the NES, you know, so like 1 million plus units. So yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't. It's making them money.
Okay. It makes me think to myself, why are they so money hungry? Well, and then I realized because they lost so much money on the Wii U. Then they're trying to recuperate, basically, because they know that they don't have very many Switches out there. Because funny thing is that Apple has been using their glass that they want to use for the Switch, so they're kind of running out of that glass. But they are, apparently there's supposed to be more coming in, shipments and stuff throughout the year for the Switch. But I think, you know, they're really just kind of trying to get some of their money back from what happened with the Wii U, because I mean, it costed them a lot of money to build those Wii U's, and you couldn't play it without the tablet. You needed the tablet in order to play the games. A lot of the games needed the tablet because, you know, the tablet was on a HUD or whatever. So, you know, it costed them a lot of money to build it, and then they were giving it to you for, like, you know, almost kind of pennies in a way. I think they were making, I think they were giving it to you for 300, for 400, somewhere around there. And I think they costed them like 500. So they were, you know, kind of taking a hit on that. But, you know, if they do come up with N64 Classic, that'd be cool. I'm not gonna pick it up though. You know, like I understand, like, you know, the nostalgia for a lot of people is great, but for me,
and we do have emulators. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you could use an emulator, you know, or you could you know, buy a Wii U and play some of the old classic NES games that they have on that console, you know, or because they have some on there. I mean, the Switch is going to be getting classic NES and SNES games coming to that console as well. So
9 times out of 10, all this bullshit is in the emulator anyway. Inside a little.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
Well, like when the NES came out, I can't remember what it's called because I'm not like into emulators, but like a Raspberry Pi or Cherry Pi or whatever. You know, basically in a little piece of plastic is what the NES was, and so I think overall there's people out there that are gonna buy it, especially, you know, people in that like mainstream or hipster category. But yeah, you know, you can play all the stuff through your emulators. So
yeah, man, I really don't understand, you know, because you can buy this. I mean, not buy it, but you can get it, you know, on an emulator or whatever. I understand that, you know, it might not be the quote unquote legal way, but you know, whatever. You know, I used to have when I was rocking Android back in the day. I used to have emulators and playing old school games. You know, so on an Android. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly,
I'm not spending my money
you
on
can
that.
play like fucking Pokemon or whatever game you want to play.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Though,
You know.
I mean, this is a corporation at the end of the day. They don't care about you. So you get it how you can. That's how I figure.
This one's
And
more expensive than the NES too. $80,
exactly.
60.
So you know, I
And it's got
understand
less games.
I
Yeah.
understand the nostalgia factor. I'm trying to keep this away from my wife because I know if I said something about it, she would want one because she wanted NES and we didn't get it. So I know she would want this one. So, but other than that, man, I could care less about it.
kind of quiet a little bit when we start
Yeah,
talking about it?
Yeah, you definitely lowered it pitch.
You're like, yeah. So we're talking about the SNES Classic. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just to be straight up, like I would never spend my money on that, man. I mean, I understand people that do, you know, but I would never do that because you can access their content all sorts of ways, you know.
Yeah,
And
there's always a way to access their content, you know.
exactly.
They even have N64 stuff, you know, out
And
there.
let me throw this caption out there. We're not saying that you need to go do anything illegal to get what you got to get, but hey, I'm just telling you what's out there.
Right, it's out there, and
It's there.
Right, right.
I mean, I'm not saying go out and do that because it's basically the same thing as, you know, downloading a game on PC or whatever,
Right.
for free and not paying for it. Because I'm always for, you know, paying for the games because, you know, we have to support the art of the games, and I also do that with movies too. Like,
Well, you gotta understand in this
I
case,
know there's a lot of people out there who will download movies and love to, you know, get movies and stuff like that offline. It's okay, you know, it's whatever, you know, that's them. That's not me. You know, I like supporting the art of it and getting the full picture and the full feeling of these kind of, you know, these experiences.
well, I'm just gonna be honest with everybody. If it's up to me, I'll trap out the bandwidth in a minute for one of these games if I want to play it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really spending the money on that. I'm not really spending the money on that crap. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Well,
saying?
my thing with like old stuff though, is you've already paid for it, you've already played for it. The only reason
Exactly.
you might not have it is because you lost it in a move, or you know, it was like fucking 30 years ago, whatever the case. You've already given that your time and money. And so to me, you know, personally, you know, to go back through other means, you know, you're not ripping anybody off. Right here in this situation, it's actually the company ripping you off. So
Right.
you're
Exactly.
you're not by doing like downloading an emulator, you're not you know, hurting the creators of these games, you know.
Well, yeah,
Just
because
Nintendo
it's older
taking
games.
a cash
Yes.
grab.
That's true. You know, these games are older games. Yeah, that is true.
So
Plus, you know, it's good. You know, SNES Classic's cool. Okay.
I know, right? Moving on. Nintendo Switch sales have passed 1 million in Japan. So it seems like this Nintendo Switch, I mean, in Japan is booming, but it's booming over here too, except the fact that you can't really find them. But whenever they do appear on the shelf, they are gone like that. So, what do you guys think about the Switch and its momentum thus far?
you know, I think, you know, for, you know, it's great that they're doing well and all that, but I think this is around the time where, you know, you're also going to see the Switch pick up if it does, because they did show some fan stuff at E3, and they do have some games in the works. You know, by this fall, you know, they're going to have maybe 5 or 6 games that I'm actually really interested and will pick up a Switch for. So I'm excited. I haven't picked one up. Like I said, I'm going to wait probably till the fall if, that'll be the earliest I get it. But I'm definitely going to pick it up at some point. That's for sure.
Cool. What about you, Alan? What you think?
It's a good thing. It's good for Nintendo. But is it that much of momentum that we're sort of gonna see a ton of third party stuff going to Nintendo? Time will tell with this console.
Yeah, but I know the general consensus is it needs the third party support and all that, and I think that stuff is good, but the Switch still is, I think, for most people, even people that might have a tighter wallet, it's a secondary console or a console for their kids, and it's really all about the first party IPs. I'm picking it up for Zelda, for Splatoon 2, for Mario Odyssey, for what did they just show off that everybody wants? Huh? Yeah,
Metroid.
Yeah, Metroid. Those are what I'm looking for in my Nintendo system. So,
I mean, there's going to be great games. Their first party stuff is always good. Even if IGN or all these big websites that tout, oh, this is a shitty game. Most of the time, they're actually all the time, pretty much, they're wrong about these games, because a lot of them they really work hard to make their first party games some of the best games to buy and play. Like ARMS, I kind of want to play ARMS now. Like, I'm like, damn, dude.
And I mean, with Nintendo, it's back. It's like back in the day when they used to have the gold standard. You know what I'm saying? Even though some of their games still have some glitches, but with Nintendo, you're not worried about a first day patch that's going to clear up all kind of issues and stuff like that, right? You're expecting Nintendo's game, their first party game, when it comes out, it's going to be
that's pristine.
The game. Exactly. So that's one thing good about Nintendo. You can expect their first party games to be quality.
Another game I forgot was that I'm interested in is Mario and Rabbids. Definitely gonna pick that up as well. So
I mean, somebody liking that. The game may not be for everybody. But you sure as hell know it's gonna be a lot of fun, guaranteed.
And Game Down Sights, he actually got a chance to play that, and he said he really enjoyed it. That game was that he thought it was so good it actually drove him to pick up XCOM 2. So
nice. There you go.
Yeah. So like he was definitely hyping that game up and definitely interested in it. So
yeah, people that we're talking with were liking it too, like XCOM type games. But so that's cool.
Yeah.
Those aren't really my type of games, but hey, each his own. Any more thoughts about the Switch? One thing, do you guys ever think that, okay, I guess we'll really start seeing what's going to happen with the Switch when they start to keep stock in, they start to get rid of the problem with their shortages, and you start to see the Nintendo Switch on the shelves consistently. Do you think they would ever have a chance of catching any of these other consoles? Do you think it would catch fire like the Wii? Because a lot of people are starting to compare it to the Wii.
I mean, it could catch fire like the Wii, but it's not going to pass up any other console. I think it's possible.
No. It's not gonna outdo PlayStation, what they've been doing over there. It's not gonna outdo what Xbox been doing. It's
honestly, I don't even think it'll outdo the Wii. I mean,
it's basically your secondary console. That's what it is. It's not going to be your first. It's going to be a console that you're going to buy the Nintendo exclusives on, and that's it. You're not gonna think anything about it, because most of these exclusives that they make are really freaking great. So you're not going to buy it for NBA 2K Live, or whatever. You're going to buy it. You're gonna buy it for the on the go with your Nintendo games. That's it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool,
For
cool. Moving on. Rocket League. What they will be introduced to the Summer X Games. I think.
Trash. Let's move on.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean that's kind
I
of a
just
big
think
game for them.
I
The,
think
I
it's
mean
cool
the X.
basically because gaming is just getting more prevalent, more out there. It's becoming more and more part of the sports atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean it's
Halo.
gonna
I
be
think Halo was part of this at one point with the Summer X Games, and then they mentioned another game in the article. But CS:GO was a part of it also.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they've been in the X Games for the last couple years, games in
yeah,
general.
yeah.
But I think it obviously it's good for Rocket League. It shows that it has
Hmm.
an esports area. I think playing Rocket League competitively is pretty fun. Um, and yeah, it shows gaming is growing. I mean, it's on. It might be. I think it's on ESPN 3, which like
Yeah.
who watches ESPN 3? But it's on fucking ESPN. And overall good for the game. I guess good for gaming, but at the same time, it's kind of like gaming in the X Games. Like gaming's not an extreme sport in my opinion. It's just kind of funny, but
Dude, it can get extreme when you're getting pissed off, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but it's not like break a leg extreme, all right?
You might break something though. You might break a keyboard or a controller. You might break somebody's face with a controller. You never know.
Yeah, but it's not like an adrenaline pumping sport or anything, which is what X Games is kind of supposed to be about, I feel. But it's good for gaming. So,
Right. What you think on this? Or that was your thoughts?
You already got my thoughts.
All right. Well, they're also
No. What I gotta say is, why is it going to the X Games? Like,
Well, I mean,
honestly,
it's cool. I mean, it's cool.
it's only cool if you're like if you're like us, but like extreme sports stars, they're like, really, like
Yeah, but
I
that prize is
skateboard for a living, and I gotta hear the there's a tournament for freaking CS:GO that's making more people go to see that than come to see me. It's
well,
like,
if they say that, bump them the haters. Hey, the prize for this, what makes it cool is the prize for this is like 75 grand. That makes it cool, right?
That is a nice prize.
I'm telling you, that's cool as fuck to me. Like 75 grand. And the teams on this, like on a Rocket League team, isn't it the top is like three people?
Well, yeah, I don't know what the teams are. You would think maybe 3 because that's standard, but
right.
I would have to look it up. But if these were like 1v1s or like duels,
right?
I mean, either way, any way you put it,
75 grand. Come on,
that's
man.
a lot. It's probably a team of 3, 25 grand a piece. I'll take that.
I'll take
that. Playing some motherfucking Rocket League, but yeah, it's cool for gaming. So
yeah, cool.
You wouldn't get 25 grand. After taxes, you wouldn't get 25 grand.
You still got a nice piece of pie out of this, all right? You still got a nice piece of pie.
I got to bring you down a peg, man.
There's people living off pro gaming, dude. Like making,
they are.
If you're living off of pro gaming, great for you. But you're not living off of pro gaming, so
Yeah, I'm not. But I'm just saying, these motherfuckers.
It's still cool though. Yeah. All right. Rocket League also has the Rick and Morty DLC coming out. Like, I could care less about this, but
yeah, I don't really care about it. A lot of people are into Rick and Morty. I've never watched it.
Yeah.
I love Rick and Morty, but I freaking hate Rocket League. So,
hey, at least it's
Rocket League, man.
It's free for everyone.
I just don't like it, man. It's just one of those things. Like, it
sucks. Hashtag get good, Optimus.
Hashtag shut your mouth. I just can't. I don't know. I can't get into it. I know it's a good game. People love it, but it's just I don't like that kind of that kind of. I mean, it's very unique. It's soccer with cars, but it's a very unique game. I just couldn't get into it. it had no appeal to it at all for me. So
Yeah. By the way, I love Optimus. You know, jokes.
jokes,
Okay,
people.
y'all keep
Just
Oh
going.
yeah,
jokes. Don't
Iceman in
worry.
the chat.
Yeah.
By the way, Iceman in the chat. Yes, we going pro in some Rocket League. We gonna be winning all them pots. Oh,
Hey, if y'all get 75 grand, just remember the little people. That's all I'm saying. Hey,
I'll be your manager so I can yell at you. That'd be good.
next up on the docket, we're gonna move on. Battlestar Galactica, the strategy game's coming out. I don't really know what to say about this, but okay.
The reason why I put it in there, the reason why I thought it was a good topic is because it's coming to Xbox, it's coming to PS4, it's coming to PC. It's coming to every console, basically, I think, except for the Switch. That's a good thing. This is a good thing. This is a strategy game that's coming to consoles. More strategy games are coming to consoles.
It's an RTS,
this is showing,
right?
huh?
It's an RTS, right?
Right. It's coming to consoles, and it's showing that there's a want and a need for these kind of games on these consoles because Halo Wars didn't do too bad actually, to be honest. It just it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I feel like Battlestar Galactica will be something that people will get into and enjoy because there are a lot of people out there who love space and sci-fi and all that. So
yeah, it's not my cup of tea. I think it's good. Obviously, if there's a market on console, come to console, expand your market. It's good for business, just not for me.
Yeah, me either. I don't like RTSs, so whatever. I actually did download the Halo Wars demo because of, again, I'm gonna shout out Chicken Spaghetti because of him. Like, he just posted so much and said and just rant and rave how good this game is. So I'll probably try that at some point in time. I haven't turned it on yet because, like I said, I have a stark disdain for RTSs when I'm playing on a console. Like, I just don't want to do that. Like, to me, it's just not the place for it. But I'm going to try it at some point in time. But as far as this game, I don't know. We can just say trash. Move on. At this point in time, I'm just gonna open the floor. Anything, in a general sense that you guys is going on this week that you guys may want to, talk about or anything like that. If not, we'll end the show. But feel free to just speak your mind on some things that may have gone on this week, gaming related, if so, please. But anything you guys got.
Yo, you talking about? Sorry, I was talking to my father. He walked in the room. We got topics that we asked.
He's asking if we have anything that we
gaming related that might have went on. I'm just opening up generally because
there is a game that's coming out fairly soon here. And I saw a trailer for it, and I haven't been able to find it ever since. And I can't remember what it's called, but it looks really interesting, and it looks like a survival horror game.
Very useful details.
Huh?
Is it The Hunt?
It might be. I think
we did talk about it on the show once.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Actually.
Did we talk about that? No,
yeah.
It looks good.
If that's what it is. Yeah. My thing, obviously I, was talking about Red Dead with my dad and stuff at the beginning. Just, let's have fun, people. Let's have fun. Because I feel like not enough people are having fun right now. They get into arguments over stupid shit that really doesn't matter. If the game is good, if the game is fun, play it and enjoy it.
Yeah, regardless of what console it's on, man, play it, man. Don't let anybody talk you
differently.
Right. Don't let anybody talk you out of a game. Don't just listen to people when they have certain opinion because it's just their opinion. It's subjective.
Right.
Exactly. Don't let them talk you out of playing a game. Because that game can be good to you, although it may not be good to them. I know we listen to a lot of people for entertainment. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of people in our community, a lot of people in the game community, period, that's very entertaining. But you don't have to just take what anybody says as, you know, the word or the book. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Try these games for yourself. And because one game, like I said, my game of the year, Rhyme, like I would have never, if I hadn't listened to people like Rand, I would have never looked at that game. I wouldn't have gave it a second look. But I picked it up and I played it, and that I'm telling you, I keep saying this, that is my game of the year. Like
So
that is.
would you say that you took his opinion and pretty much ran with it then, right?
I took
Well,
his
yeah, I
opinion
mean,
about a game. Like he wasn't talking about anything else but gaming. I took
So
his opinion about a game.
he persuaded you to buy the game.
well, people can
So it's like
persuade
same
you.
thing with like if somebody persuaded you to not buy the game, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but you shouldn't let somebody
Well,
ruin your experience. That's all we're saying. You know, like yeah, of
exactly.
No,
course,
you're right. Yeah,
we
but
ourselves we give opinions about
Exactly.
games, but just because we have a certain opinion about a game doesn't mean it's good or bad.
It's correct.
well,
Right. You shouldn't.
it's not about just listening to one person. It's about listening to
Yeah,
multiple people who do reviews.
Exactly.
Not
It's just
just
like
one.
it's just like when you listen to news. You don't get your news just from one outlet. You get your news from several outlets, and then you make your um, you make you make your opinion on it based upon several other opinions. You don't just
Mhm.
listen to one person.
like
Right.
Gunstar in the chat just said, you know, he's missed out on many good games by listening to people's reviews. I'm guessing there he's saying, you know, he missed out on games because people, you know, trashed the game or said the game wasn't good, and it actually ended up being good. So that's all we're saying, you know, and that's, you know, what we try to do here, you know,
Well,
bring
also,
new and different games that maybe not everybody's heard of, and hopefully, you know, at some point you walk away with, you know, a new game that you haven't heard of from our
Exactly.
podcast, you know.
Right.
you know, I think it's more along the lines of, you know, you know what you like, and if you're playing what you like, then who gives a shit? You know,
Mhm.
like
Exactly.
honestly, like if you love RPGs and that's what you love playing, then play RPGs. You know, if somebody says, "Oh, you're not playing any multiplayer games," you're missing out. It's just like, okay, so you know, like I'm playing an
Right.
RPG. Have you played this game? Ask them if have you played this game, because 9 times out of 10 they're probably gonna be like, no. You know, so it's like
Yeah.
you play what you play because that's what you want to play. Don't let
Right.
anybody tell you otherwise. Not
Right.
even us. Don't even let us, you know, what we're talking about right now influence you to go pick out some games that
Right.
we
And
talk
I
about.
think a lot of times what we do is we try to just get you, even if we say like we don't like the game, at least it's out there for you to go look and see and do a little bit, because we want you to do, we don't, we never want you to just take our word as face and
Hmm.
as that. We want you to go out. We mention these games because we want you to go out and do a little research yourself and maybe look at some videos, you know, get whatever information you can on the game, and then decide for yourself whether or not you like it
Right.
or not. A lot of times we
Oh,
have opinions about these games that we may not like them, but we put them in our lineup so that it's information. It's a game that somebody else can go look up and say, "Hey, well, they didn't like it, but I like this game." You know what I'm saying?
right.
That's why I
Right.
always
Exactly.
preface things with like, you know, it's not for me, but dot dot dot. You know, like an
Right.
RTS, it's not for me, but it might be good if you're into RTSs. You know.
Right. Mhm.
Right. For me, you know, a lot of times, you know, I'll sit here on the podcast and say, you know, oh, I don't like that game or it's trash, but it doesn't deter from, you know, remakes or Banes from not playing it. You know, they're just
Right.
basically saying, oh, okay, well, that was his opinion. I'm going to go out and try it and play it. And that's what we've been trying to do from the beginning, from the get go. Of building this podcast and making it something, you know, that people can actually come to and listen. Yes, we regurgitate a lot of what goes on in the media, and we regurgitate a lot of the games that are being announced and stuff, but you know, we give our opinions on what we think the game will be like or what the game is, and we, you know, kind of form our own opinion about it, and then you guys can go out there and you guys can form your own opinion as well.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to just you know talk about on the podcast just for myself, or you know, real quick, is when you guys. I know a lot of you people that may be listening, you listening later or whatever. You think about getting an Xbox One X, and you think about getting a TV. when you look at a TV, man, go and look at the reviews of TV, and if this is going to be your gaming TV, it doesn't necessarily have to do good in every category. But if it does good in like HDR gaming or just gaming period, and maybe you might not use that TV for like your everyday watching or something like that, and you can find it at a cheaper price, get that TV. It doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest and best TV out, as long as it does good for what you're going to primarily use it for. And if that's gaming, you can find a lot of 4K HDR TVs for really good prices, and that's for people that's looking to get the X that may not have a 4K TV. They are really affordable.
Here's where I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. No. Buy a TV that's going to do pretty much everything.
Well, no,
because eventually
you can't do that. You can't do that, Artemis, because the reason I'm saying is because somebody may get this TV and it's only used for gaming. Meaning they have another TV in their living room.
If you want something that's only used for gaming, then buy a monitor. Buy a monitor then.
Well, but some people don't.
Here's the thing:
monitor.
A TV, when you buy a TV, like you basically go out there for it to be used for pretty much almost everything, because especially if you're not, if you don't have a lot of money and you're out there and you're gonna buy an X and you're like, dude, I'm saving up for an X. I'm gonna save up for a TV as well. I want to get both. And yes, you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe I'll get the cheaper TV just so I can get the X to run on it. I'd say go for the little bit more expensive TV, because you're going to get what you pay for.
I guess we're speaking from two different perspectives, because I have kids, and I have four or five rooms in this house, and we have a TV in every room. Not every room are we looking at to watch TV primarily. Some rooms are just rooms that my kids play in and they watch TV, or we have like a work room / game room that me and my wife, come to do work and then just watch a little TV, and then or I come in here to mainly game. I'm not putting the best TV in that room. Like when I go to look for a 4K TV, I'm going to make sure it does the best, that it does good in certain areas. And then I'm going to, and then I'm going to spend based upon that, because I know this TV is not one that I'm going to look at, every day. The living room TV is what I'm going to look at primarily every day.
Right. You're speaking. So
that's why I'm saying you need
the perspective of a family man. I'm speaking from the perspective of a single dude.
Well, yeah.
Who doesn't, who has, that is.
No, I say, get the best price TV that you can find that's going to do what you want it to do. If you want it to do everything, then get something that's going to do everything. Me, since I started, doing like the podcast stuff, I picked up a monitor, started gaming on a monitor, but I also like going out and bringing my console out to the TV and, playing with my family and stuff on the console, on the couch, and stuff as well. So,
yeah, I mean, for me, if I'm going to go out and buy a TV, I'm going to get the better one because of the fact that I know it will last me longer. Plus, I know that down the line, if they come out with something better, I'm gonna, if I want to sell that TV, I can actually gain maybe not gain a profit, but I can actually sell it for more than what I would for that cheaper TV.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but it all depends on what you're trying to do. Anything else, you guys, just off the top of your head?
No, man. About wraps it up.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end it. This has been a good show with the three amigos. And I'm going to let these guys do their outros. Artemis?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Artemis. You can also find me on Xbox Live at the same name. And I'm out. Usually I have a little spiel with the guest, but no guest tonight. So, yeah. But you know what I can say? For the new people who came out tonight and checked us out, really appreciate it. You guys were awesome. you guys came in the chat. You know, you guys were, you know, very interactive. We love that. Gunstar, and I think Predman is also a new new arrival. Both of you guys, thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. Hopefully, you know, you guys will continue to watch us and continue to support, you know, what we do here.
Yep. Go ahead, Remix.
All right. Well, you know, find me on Xbox, PlayStation, and now Steam at Remix Essence, because I will be gaming over there on the good old PC, and Twitter and Mixer. You know, watch me when I go live. I haven't streamed in a little bit, but I will be streaming. I'm gonna leave. I'll be gone next week, like Thursday through Saturday or something like that. So, but I'll stream a little bit throughout the rest of this week and next week when I come back. So that's it for me, guys.
Cool. And I have been your host, mbangs99 Quest, and you know we try to kick it to these games the best, you know. And as far as my information, don't worry about the rest.
Optimus just could not contain his laughter. Peace out, everybody.
Hey, peace. Y'all hold it down. Thank you for coming through. We out.